Now listen, right? I'm making this last video because I was just talking to somebody on this group chat. No, it's not group chat. Um, it's like a little, like it's like Instagram, and I posted something that said, "Who has it harder, men or women?" And most of the people are going to say men have it harder than women. Now, the only reason why a lot of women will say that men have it harder because men are dying. Sorry, I gotta do it this way because my fucking mask making me not able to breathe. So you see my lips. So the funny thing about it is, right, is that I don't believe any of that bullcrap of men have it harder than women. And the only reason why I say that because, you know, us men are meant to survive. Through the crisis and everything that's going on in the world today, we're supposed to be the alpha male, we're supposed to be the protector, we're supposed to be the ones that, are big and strong and confident, you know. But the funny thing about it is that I'm not talking about all that. That's what a man should be, because men were created to be that way, right? And we should take that to another level to protect our women and our children. But the really thing that really gets me is that men forgot the way we treated women. Now I have a lot of people tell me, yeah, but women, you know, have it good today because of the things that they have in front of them. Like they were given a lot of things, because they're women. And I'm like, that's absolutely wrong because women didn't have any rights. And what I mean by women didn't have any rights, they could not get anything. They couldn't get an education, a good education. And if they did get a good education, they couldn't get a job because they couldn't work. Because if they were married, their husband will work. Or if they were single, they still couldn't get a job. Or if they did get a job, they couldn't work in labor. They had to work like, little small jobs like being a nurse, being a caretaker, dealing with children, working in restaurants, typing, and they really couldn't do what a man could do. Now, women were considered non-equal. What I mean is that women wasn't considered being strong as men, as smart as men, as intelligent than men, because men were the only ones that were allowed to get educated. Women were not allowed to get educated. So the woman was really actually illiterate. So a woman couldn't get the education that she wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer, a judge, a police officer, be in business, because women couldn't own anything. And what I mean by women couldn't own anything, they couldn't own land, they couldn't own a car, they couldn't get loans, they couldn't get houses, they couldn't. Even if their husband passed away, their husband really didn't have to leave them anything. They could leave it to the child, like the male child. The daughter would even get any property. Now, I'm not saying through certain times that men really didn't love their daughters and actually give their daughters things like they will leave them property, they will leave them slaves, they will, some women will get that, if they were rich. But you gotta look at the way women were treated. Women couldn't even go to church. Women couldn't even pray to God. They couldn't believe in Jesus. And the only reason why I'm saying that because religion was based for men. It wasn't based for women like the Bible. The Bible was written for men, not for women. Marriage was created for men, not for women. And what I mean by created for men, because women wasn't allowed to choose their husband. The man had, well, the father had to choose their husband. So say if a man was rich and the daughter didn't know that she was chosen to marry this rich guy she wasn't interested in, she was forced to marry him, forced to have kids with him, and she couldn't say or do anything. Just imagine that. Women could not do a goddamn thing. They were only meant to make babies. And even in the Bible really chastised women, made women look like they were not important to the man. Even in certain religions and certain eras of like different kingdoms, women were looked at as non-desirable because other men would look at other men and dress up men as women and have sexual intercourse with the men because they felt the woman wasn't given the same desire sexually that a man would. And this is absolutely true because they did that in Rome, they did that in Greece, they did it in many other different cultures, you know, that they didn't desire women. women wasn't desirable, which they always thinking women were. Men didn't desire women like they do today, because women were not built like they were today. So a lot of men were messed up in the mind of thinking that women wasn't desirable, women wasn't equal, women wasn't strong-minded, women wasn't educated, because they say women are more uneducated than men to this very day, are very illiterate. It's mostly women. It's crazy. And you see all these women going to school, doing all these things, the internet and all that kind of stuff. But you got to understand, they didn't have that power. Men, yes, they'll say men have a heart because they went to war. Well, men went to war because they were forced to go to war. They were drafted. Men were drafted to go to war. Men didn't want to go to war. Men didn't want to fight for their country. Men didn't want to die. They wanted to live for their family, but they were forced to go to war. Yes, there were diseases, but women died from diseases just like men did. You know, you forgot the Black Plague. A lot of women died during the Black Plague because a lot of men left their wives in the home because they actually believed that women were the women that were carrying all the diseases. I remember I was reading something about women with periods. They used to make women, they used to exercise women because of their periods, because they thought they were demons. Women were looked at as witches. Women were looked at as, when Adam and Eve were in existence, what they still call second. I don't believe in Adam and Eve, but Eve tricked Adam and eat the apple, and she was called incubus. She was called Lilith, which Lilith was really something of the first marriage of Adam, but they used that for what Eve did to trick Adam to eat the apple, which Adam was a stupid dumbass to eat the apple anyway, knowing God told him not to eat the fruit of knowledge, but he did anyway. So basically, you can't blame Eve for doing that, which they blame it on the snake. They just can't blame Adam for crap because they don't want to blame man for nothing. But I always believe men does not have it harder than women, because women give birth, men don't. Men don't give birth at all. Don't give birth to children. They don't push out a little small hole about this big for a child that's the size of a basketball. And they don't carry a child for 9 months. Women got to go through so much carrying a child for 9 months. A man doesn't. What else? I can say a lot of things that us men don't go through that women go through. Women go through a lot because of things that have been taken away from them for about 10,000 years. We mistreated women. We stoned women. We put women at stakes. We did so much to women. We used to chastise them, degrade them. We used to, even when we were prostitutes, we didn't stop them from being prostitutes, to making money, because women didn't have any money to make, so they had to prostitute themselves. They had to degrade themselves to make money. We call them hoes. We call them dots. We call them names. But us men, we can do anything we want. We can go out there and sleep with a bunch of women, have children with these women, and next thing you know, we're not called anything. But a woman go out there, have sexual intercourse with 10 men, they're called hoes. Or they're called names. Or they're called prostitutes. Or they're called sluts. They're called all these names. But when we do something, we're never degraded like a woman is degraded. We're never torn down like a woman's torn down, because we think that we are over top of everybody. Just because we wear a size 13, 14 shoe and a woman wears a 9 or a 3 shoe, we think we're better than them. Just because we could talk down to them and hurt their feelings, and think we don't have any feelings because we get our feelings destroyed too. We act like we tough, but we're not tough. But we act like it because we have to act like it, because we think that's what the Bible says. We need to be what God is, or be what Jesus is, to be tough and be a man. But most of us don't even protect our families. And women are the family protector. They protect the family, basically, because they're the head of the household. Because you could say the percentage of women that take care of children by themselves are the head of the household. Because men are the ones that can get up and leave anytime they fucking want. Like I said, in marriage, women didn't create marriage. Man created marriage. They created marriage for men to have control over their wife, their children, and the things that they own. It's all about property, money. The man can do anything with the property, even if the wife, is still living and he dies. He doesn't have to give her nothing. He don't have to give her land. He can leave her broke. He can leave the family anytime he wants to. The mother can't. Even if the mother gives a child up for adoption, the mother still will have attachment to that child. The father don't have an attachment to anything once the man leave. The man can leave anytime he feels like it. He can have so many children and never be put down. You hear it all the time, single mothers. But what about single fathers? You don't hear about the single fathers. Or you don't hear about men leaving their fucking girlfriend or leaving their baby mom or leaving their wives for another woman to have another child with and then come back to the mother, but the mother put child support on him, but the man is mad that now he's being child supported from the mom because the mom said, well, you left me and my child and you left me with nothing. So why the hell do you think I'm not going to take you to court? But women have it harder than men. And I always will say this, that women have it harder than men. Will always have it harder than men. And until the day we are all gone, women were always going to be looked at as non-desirable than men. Regardless, I don't give a damn if a woman is butt naked. A man will look at a woman and chastise her. But like I said before, if we in this generation today is different because of the internet and how the internet portrays the woman, it's still doing the same thing that it did 10,000 years ago. The internet is the same as what it was 10,000 years ago before the internet. It's just now you're seeing what men used to do to women back in that time when women were doing the same thing, walking around mostly without clothes on, prostituting themselves for money, because a lot of women did not have any money, were not married, couldn't eat, they were starving, uneducated, having children, out of wedlock, whatever you want to call it, and they were doing the same goddamn thing, not just thousands of years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago. Women working at brothels, women working as prostitutes, women selling their bodies for money, but it wasn't on the internet. Now you're seeing it on the internet. You're seeing it's a repeated stage that happened 100 years ago. But now women are actually making money online now by selling their body, and men are doing the same thing they did 100 years ago, going to them brothels, buying these women, taking them into a room, having sexual intercourse with them, and then leaving them alone. And then after that, they call them hoes. This is what's going on. The internet has never changed of the way men treat women. That's why I always believe women have it hard because women can be left alone faster than a woman leaving a man. Even women can leave men, but honestly, a child is always going to be involved. And that's my problem with men is they always are selfish of not worrying about the child, but they're worried about the woman. But the woman don't want to be with them no more. They want to leave them with the child, and then they say, well, she's a single mom. I don't care. I'm going to leave her alone. Bye. I'm out. And a man can just walk away. And if a woman do it, a woman's just going to be destroyed. If a woman walk away from a man and leaves her man, oh, she's a hoe, she's a whore. Oh, she's interrupting, the mother should have the father in her life. But why can't the father be in the mother's life too? What happened to the father being in the child's life without leaving? And even if the mother kicks the child out, you still should be in your child's life. Even if the motherfucking mother doesn't want to be with you. It shouldn't be about the mom. It should be about your children or your child. But women have to work harder to find love than men. Because women have to find somebody that's going to be probably not just with her, but be with her child. And it's hard for women to find men that actually going to be dedicated to be just with both of them and not just be with one. Because men don't want to deal with another person's child. But honestly, I see women dealing with men with children and never honestly be upset about being around another person's child than a man would. But see, like I said before, working for a man is supposed to happen. A man's supposed to work. A man's supposed to protect his children. A man's supposed to protect his wife. That's what a man's supposed to do. Women are supposed to be the ones that actually can calm down her man, love her man, respect her man, give children to that man, but it's not going to stop her from doing what she wants to do. Men want to stop women from fighting for their rights to have independence and be what they want to be, because women never had an opportunity to be what they wanted to be for the past thousands of years. Now they got an opportunity, but men are scared of women being in control. Men don't like women that are controlled. Men want submissive women. Men want the woman to bow down to their feet. But that should not fucking happen in this generation because women are different now than they were thousands of years ago. And that's what I'm saying. But if you look at the internet, and you see how the internet is portraying women, that's what they still are. That's what they did hundreds of years ago, and that's why I believe women are just suffering. The man is always going to have what he wants because we have written the laws. Man has written the Bible. Men have written all of everything that you have seen and you read. That is what men have done. It's a man's world. You don't see this as a woman's world. They say this is a man's world. So what does that mean? That women have to deal with being underneath a man's foot. Because women try to fight for the same rights as a man. But men don't see women getting them rights. They don't believe that women should have rights. Women should not be able to go out there and work, make money, drive a car, have a nice house, take care of their kids. They should depend on a man. That's what men think. That's what men think the laws were written for and the Bible was written for. To have men be in control of everything and the women has control of nothing. And that's a shame. That's why I think women have it hard. Because women are still fighting for their rights and independence and actually their own integrity to compete with a man. Which a man should allow a woman to be a woman in this generation, to work, to have money, to have a car, to have a house, to have things that they fought hard for. Because if they didn't fight for these things, women would still be in the house, not working, not making any money, and men would be working even harder to support a family. Knowing you got two people that can support a family, now you just want to be the only man supporting a family, which that's the most ridiculous thing in the world that a man should want, is to do it by himself. That's why you got somebody to help you, but men want to do everything by themselves, thinking that we need to do everything by ourselves to be a man. That's not fucking true. That's why you have a woman, because a woman is equal to a man. It's just that she's called a woman, but she's still equal. Maybe she don't have the body like you. Maybe she don't fake like you. Maybe she can't lift 1,000 pounds like you, but her mind is different than yours. Like your daughter. Your daughter ain't the same as you. Your daughter's different, but you will love your daughter to be different than you because you don't want your daughter to be like you. Why you want your daughter to do the same thing as you? Don't you want her to be different? Don't you want to marry somebody that's different? Don't you want her to have a different education, a different lifestyle, just everything different than you? Why you want her to be the same as you? I don't want my daughter. My daughter's 21. I didn't want my daughter to be like me. I wanted my daughter to be different than me. I wanted my daughter to have different goals than me. I wanted my daughter to be a strong, independent woman. I don't want to take that away from my daughter. Like a lot of other men want to take that shit away from their wives and their girlfriends. They want them to be submissive. They want them to be sexual towards them every day. They want them to give up everything for them. Why does a woman need to give up everything for a man? Well, a man's never going to give up everything for a woman. It should be equal. If you're going to give up everything for your love, you should be giving up everything for her too. Why is this going to be one way? A man wants a woman to love him, and he don't have to love her. He wants him to bow. She wants her to bow down to him, and he don't have to bow back. That's stupid. You want her to have your child, but you're not there to take care of him. You want her. You want to work, but you don't want her to help you when she asks you, baby, do you need my help? No, I got it. But you're still late on the bills. You're still having problems paying the rent. You still having problems paying the car note. But she can work too and help you. But you're so stubborn because you want her to stay at home and cook and clean for you and stay in the kitchen, which a woman honestly works so hard not to be in a fucking kitchen, to try to retire at the age of 60 to get a pension and get money so she can live her life until she dies in, luxury, or on vacation, or travel the world with you. But you want her to stay in the crib and cook and clean and scrub and wash dishes and clean the toilets and shit, like we're living back in a time of slavery. I think that's slavery. And I think whatever was written in the Bible was slavery to a woman. That's why I think women have it a lot harder than men, because men want women to be slaves. Women shouldn't be slaves. We don't teach our daughters to be a slave to a man. Why do we want our wives to be slaves to us? We will kill for our daughters, but we won't fight for our wives. And we won't kill for our wives, but we'll fight for our daughters. Like I see men go out there and tear men apart because they mistreated their daughter. But when it comes to a woman, they won't do that. I mean, they'll try to hurt the woman and the man, but not go after the real person that really caused the problems, or try to fix their relationship, to try to build their relationship to be stronger. That's why I always believe women have it a lot harder than men, because us men, we can leave the nest and go somewhere the fuck else and be with 20 other women and have 20 other kids, and we can come back to you and have 20 other kids because you will open the door for us. And that's the damn thing that women need to stop doing, is stop being submissive to men that's not submissive to them. You know what I mean? And stop letting these men take away your independence and your strength and your integrity, and just take everything from you just because you marry them. Because because that's in the Bible. The Bible's 2,000 fucking years old. In today's generation of the new Bible that they read, it's supposed to be honor thy wife and honor thy husband. But men don't see it like that. Men see it the other way around. That once we're married, you got to do everything I tell you to do. And it's not even fucking true. These laws were written by man. Every law was written by man. Men. Popes, priests, kings, presidents, government. Those are all men. Remember, once upon a time, government was all men. Once upon a time, kings ruled. Queens were just sitting on the side. Even though queens had say, but they didn't really have say because they got to answer to the king. Popes, priests, they were in power. They ruled over everything. They're the ones that written the laws of the Bible. They're the ones that made the Bible what it is today, because we had all these writers that were all men. Women wasn't involved in anything at all. They never put women to be involved in the justice system, laws, in the courts, anything. They used to laugh that they believed women shouldn't even be in politics. They said, hey, that's what I think I watched the movie Lincoln. They had one part of the movie Lincoln, they laughed when they were talking about women being in politics. They laughed. They said, man, you can just imagine women being in the White House. They started laughing because they don't believe that women had any power. They should not have power. They shouldn't be speaking amongst men. They shouldn't be doing anything except cooking and cleaning and taking care of kids. And submissive to their man. That's it. And then women started working in the corporate world, start working for the military in the 1940s, when women were working for the military, building tanks, ships, planes, and women started quitting. The man was like, yo, these women are helping us out in this war. We need to start paying these women more money. So they start paying women more money. And they got the women to come back and start building more ships, more tanks, and everything else. So women started getting into the military. And after the military, then the 1980s came. Women started getting into the corporate world. And men hated it. And to this day, men don't like women that are in the corporate world. They don't want women in the corporate world at all. They don't want to be in bosses or leaders or even presidents, congressmen, congresswomen, anything that has to do with power. They barely want to give women lead roles in movies. You see what they're doing to women athletes. They don't even want to pay women millions of dollars of playing sports. They're taking that away from women because they believe women are not better than men in sports, but they don't even give them a chance to even compete because they don't want to give them millions of dollars because their game is not popular. You still pay them. They don't even pay women that are teachers, nurses, anything. They don't pay them. The man is always going to get the higher level checks. They're always going to get more money. They're always going to get the more of the education, because women are fighting to get these educations. That's why women are going to school so much, because they want to make money to compete with men. That's why they be going to these big name schools like USC, Notre Dame, and Penn State, and all these big name schools, because they're trying to get that education to be up there to make millions of dollars, or try to be a billionaire, or try to be a business owner, because men are keeping women away from that. And every time a woman succeeds, they always bring up men. Well, that man helped you. That man helped you. That man helped you. But a lot of women be doing this shit them fucking selves. But they don't want to give the women respect. They want to tear a woman down because a woman's trying so hard. And women have to try harder than men. Women just can't walk into a corporate building, get a job, and then the man come in. They're going to hire a man first. because he's a man. I don't care how much education that man has. We could have more education than a man. She might not get that job because a man just walked through the door. He might be something that they want just because he's a man, not because he got all the education. He could probably have one piece of paper of a document that say he went to school for something, but that woman got like 20 documents, but he's going to get the job. That's how they treat women, and they're always going to do that because man will always look at the woman as non-equal. Period. I don't give a fuck how beautiful the woman is. I don't give a fuck how educated the woman is. The man will always look at the woman as not equal because they teach this shit in the churches or just in school that women never will be the same as a man. That's why women always are giving themselves up submissively because they know this is true. They know that they're not getting the same equal treatment as a man. So they're just giving up. I see women stop working. I see women stop their education. I see women are getting pregnant just to have a man take care of them because they believe that they're not equal to them. And I always tell women, stop believing that shit. You're equal to a man. Even Jesus said that shit in the Bible, that women are equal to men. But men don't believe that because they were taught this for many generations throughout history from their grandparents, their great-grandparents, from their parents, and what they see the way men treat women. And they think they got to do the same motherfucking thing. And when I say, well, you got to start treating young women a little better, why? Women are this, women are that. So what the fuck is a man? How are we not the same as a woman? We treat women the same as women treat us. We're hoes just like women. We're dots just like women. We love sex just like women. We pay to play just like women. We do the same exact thing. It's just that we don't want to believe it. We want to tell our sons we are the tough ones because we got a penis. We got a little bit of strength. We got a little bravado. We can do anything we fucking want because all the laws were written for us. It really wasn't written for them. You tell me what laws were written for women for the past 1,000 years. What laws were written for women? Not until at least about the 1800s or the 1900s. Or even when Roosevelt's wife was trying to get women to vote and get equal rights to men. For over 100 years, women have fighting for rights. And to this very day, women are fighting for their rights overseas. Even the Muslim women are fighting for their rights. The Palestine women are fighting for their rights. Even women around the world are fighting for their rights just like the women are fighting their rights in the United States. Because like I said, women don't have rights here. Like they have rights, but they don't. And even if they do go out there and try to speak up for themselves, men are going to shut them down. You see all these videos that men are making about women nowadays. You see how men are destroying women just because they have one child and they're not with the man or they're not married. It's right for a woman. It's not right for a woman to be married out of wedlock. You have a child out of wedlock, but it's a lot for a man to have one. So a man can have a child out of wedlock, but a woman can't. It doesn't make any sense. How can a man have a child and not be married, but a woman can't have a child and not be married? It doesn't make any sense. A woman should be able to do what she fucking wants to do because it's her body. A man can't control what a man can't control a woman's body. And that's what men want. Us men, we want to control every little aspect of a woman. We want to control her body. We want to control her pregnancy. We want to control her abortions. Everything because we don't want the child. So why don't you put a condom on and use the condom instead of having a child knowing that she's going to give birth to the child because she don't want the child to die? Take care of your child. Take care of your responsibility. But us men, we call them whores. Oh, you're a hoe. That's not my child. Women cheat. Men cheat more than women. And women are catching up to men. Yes, women caught up to men cheating. But men were the biggest cheaters of all time. We were the biggest cheaters. Because we can go out and do anything we fucking want and not get in trouble for it. Did you know that men used to be married? This is the time of Jesus. I'll go back to the time of Jesus. Men had stay-at-home wives because women couldn't work, women couldn't be educated, women were pregnant, giving birth to all these kids back at that time. If a man didn't desire his wife no more, he could stone his wife to death. He could kill his wife. Sorry to say it that way, but that's what really happened. Men will take their wives and stone them to death. And they will lie and say, well, my wife cheated on me, or my wife committed adultery on me. So I'm going to take her outside, throw some stones at her. Even though the woman never, ever looked at another man, never desired another man, only desired the husband, only looked at her husband, spoke to her husband, when spoken to. But he go out there and cheat, lie and say his wife cheated. If he wasn't in love with his wife no more, take his wife and stone her to death. Because the man had a right to do harm to his wife. He could beat on his wife. And this is during marriage. Because women had no protection. There was no protection for a woman. A man could beat his wife to death while married. And a man would never get locked up or get charged for killing his wife. That was the true outcome of a woman trying to survive in that time when it was men's laws and women could not say anything or do anything or say anything to her husband. If her husband put his hands on her, he couldn't stop her. And even if she told on somebody, the husband will find out. It would go right back to the husband, and the husband would have probably did some more shit to her. And the cops would have just like, that's your husband. We can't do nothing about that. You know, you're married to him. He has all the control, all the rights over you. Because it was a right thing. Women didn't have no rights. The man had control of all the property, all the money, and everything over his wife. And today, men don't like that shit. Because they don't have no control over their wives when it comes to money. Unless the woman allows it. A woman could get a divorce right now, take everything from the man. Women couldn't do that back then. If a woman got a divorce, she just got a divorce. The man didn't have to give her shit. If her husband died, he had to leave her shit. He could take the kids and leave her with nothing and let her die. Unless she was rich, unless she had some fortune of her own that her father probably left her or her mother left her, she could do anything she fucking want. But if she didn't have that power, and the father would like, listen, I want you to marry him. I don't want to marry him. He ugly. I don't care. He got money. You're going to marry him. There's sometimes that daughters would commit suicide just because they didn't want to marry the man that the father wants them to marry. Because she wasn't in love with him. She was in love with some poor motherfucker over here that had no money, no nothing. She was in love with him. But the father wants her to marry a rich man, which she wasn't in love with or don't give a fuck about. They would actually hurt themselves to try to be with that other man. And or the father will probably end up hurting her. Or the husband end up hurting her because he's abusing her, beating her, and he would never get in trouble. And the father would never get mad that his daughter's getting abused by this man. He just married. Because you know why? By law, the man had the right to do anything he wants to his wife. To this very day, the laws have changed. So women don't have to go through that. But just imagine how much they had to go through. That's why I said women had it harder than men. Because women had to go through so much to try to survive. Through birth. Remember, women had to give birth to children when they didn't have no anesthetics and anything, no type of medical help, no insurance, no nothing like that, giving birth to a child. With all the diseases that was going on. And women couldn't heal. Women ended up being sick and died from giving birth. That was going on for a long time. Women getting abortions, killing themselves through abortions. It's because their husband don't want the baby no more. You know, women were more alcohol, women were having more heart attacks, more strokes. Women were dying from more diseases. Remember, they didn't have medical shit back, medical treatment that they had to do to have the day that they had. They didn't have thousands of years ago, 100 years ago. So women went through a lot through experiments. Remember, women went through a lot through slavery too. Black women went through a lot through slavery. Even white women went through a lot. Indian women. Women are still controlled by their husbands in other countries. Women got to walk behind their husband. 6 feet. Even they got to walk behind their son. 6 feet. Or the daughter has to walk behind the brother and the father 6 feet. Who does that? Why did they still live by the rules? Why do they still live by the rules that the woman has no rights? They can't speak amongst men. They can't hang around their husband when they want to love their husband. They got to love their husband when their husband want to be loved. A woman wanted to be loved, right? Then it was times that women will sit in the same room as their husband while their husband would be sitting up there. And the woman would just be sitting there on the couch while her husband is sitting there like reading a newspaper. And her husband be sitting up there like, her wife be like, God damn, he didn't say, he not even paying attention to me. But you know what? Once she go to bed, he go sneak over to another woman's house and have sexual intercourse, have a baby. Next thing you know, come home, tell her, listen, baby, I don't want to be with you no more. I found a new woman. And he'll walk off and leave her. And never see him again. There's times that guys that are in today hasn't seen their fathers ever since they were fucking 5 years old. Because the man left them for another woman. Left the mom for another woman. But they don't talk about that. Men going to jail, getting locked up because they do the most dumbest thing because, oh, the men had to sell. Men didn't have to sell drugs. They did that because they think they needed to do that. Yeah, because they gotta protect, they gotta build money to protect their family. But if a woman do it, it wasn't really good for a woman to sell drugs or do things, crimes, to get locked up to protect their family. It's a shame that us men still are so critical of the way the woman is today. And we don't see how hard it is for them. We don't know how they feel inside with the things that they fucking do and how much sadness and depression and stress, because women go through a lot more stress and depression than men do. Women are more suicidal than men. You know what I mean? Women are more, I forgot the word I was going to use. They're more looking for love and more help than us. We're not supposed to be going through this. We're supposed to be we're supposed to be defending our women, protecting our women, showing our women the right way. But women are not. The way the internet has portrayed the woman nowadays, women don't care about men no more. Women are trying to do their own thing. And us men, we're so jealous of them. We're going to say, oh, we're not. Yes, we are. We're very jealous of women. Because we wouldn't be trying to stop them for their independence and let them be what they want to be because we don't like the way they talk to us. Well, your mom talked to you the same way your woman's talking to you. You never got mad at your mom cursing you the fuck out, telling you a loser. Your mom probably called you a loser when you were little. Your mom probably left you when you were 5 years old. Women go through things in life, so we have to make sure that we protect them because they're the ones that give birth to the kings and queens of this planet. Men don't give birth to children. We don't carry children for 9 months. Women are the ones that push a child for hours to try to get them out their fucking vagina. When you ever see a man push a baby out of his penis? Go through 9 months of carrying water and pain and eating and being depressed, angry at themselves, hating themselves because they think they're fat. The man don't want to be with them because the woman really is not sexually desired anymore like she was before she got pregnant. So he's going off sleeping with other motherfuckers because she doesn't look the same as she was before she got pregnant. She don't have that big butt, big titties, flat stomach no more. She's 300 pounds with a baby sitting in front of her. He don't like that. He go off and sleep with somebody else. But when she gives birth and don't want to be with the man because now he wants to be a father after he cheated on her and had kids by other motherfucking women, now he wants to come back and be a father. She don't want to be with him no more. Now he mad. Now he's calling her all these types of names, making videos. Oh, my girl left me. Why don't you tell the fucking truth why she left you? Because you cheated on her. Because when she was pregnant, she wasn't desirable to you anymore. So you went off and slept with other females, or probably slept with another man. It's because you want to get your nuts soft. Because she wasn't submissive because she was pregnant. And women shouldn't have to be submissive to their man when they're pregnant because they're carrying a child. But this is just me. I'm sick and tired of hearing these lies that us men keep saying that we have it harder. Yes, we go to war. Yes, men do die. Yes, men do have problems in certain aspects. But you got to understand, this is the year 2025. This is a new, different era of what men used to have back then. Because men really didn't have it hard back then. Because men were the ones that actually worked, had money, had the car, had the home, had the land. They had the laws. Everything was written for the man. God, Jesus are men, right? So we have a God and a Messiah that's a man. It's not a woman in our sense, it's a man. Christianity is a man's religion. The Arab religion, the Hindu religion, all these religions are men religions. They're all created by men. not women. So we have more of everything. Who's on a dollar bill? Who's on a currency? Men. Like, come on. Half of the schools, half of the streets, half of the country is made by men. All this country was founded by men that came from another country to this country. They were the ones that created the laws of this country. They were the government. They were government. They were the president. They were the senators. They were the congressmen. They were everything. Were men. So how is it that you say that women don't have it harder when men are the ones that basically are the ones that rule the world? The richest people in the world are men. Come on. There's only a few women that ruled like Elizabeth for almost 100 years to be a fucking queen. But it's rare that you see women rulers, you see women leaders. We don't even have a president that's a woman. So think about that. Women have it harder than men. They wouldn't even elect two women like Hillary Clinton and Harris as president of the United States. They didn't want them as presidents. And these are women. This country is ruled by men. It will always be ruled by men. The Freemasons, they were founded by men. The Illuminatis were founded by men, by a white man. These are things that are founded by men and owned by men and created by men. So like I said, the currency has a whole bunch of white men on it. There's not one black woman on a currency or white woman on a currency or any culture of women on a currency unless you go outside the country, which they do have women on currency. You see, they're different. They treat their women differently. The United States, we still treat our women like we're still living in the 1800s or the 1700s. We still treat our women bad. Look at the videos they be making all over the internet. You don't hear nothing great about a woman because they don't want you to think women are great in any aspect. Because they always want to say, well, a man helped her. But she did it by herself. But no, we gotta say a man helped her. We can't tell. We can't let nobody know she did this by herself. Because they'll make her look independent. That'll make her look strong. That'll make her look prideful. We don't want a woman to look prideful. We don't want a woman to feel no independence. We don't want the woman to feel like she actually done stuff for herself. We always want to put a man in the middle so it can make her feel like she needs a man to do things for her. No, a woman don't need to be a maintenance worker. A woman don't need to build the ship by herself. She don't need to do all that shit. Being a woman doesn't have to make you be strong and with muscles. That's what a man think a man should be. And a woman that wears a pants is not her being a man. She's wearing a pants because that's what she has to wear because she's the only one taking care of her own responsibilities and loving herself and loving her responsibilities of being a mother. Because a mother has to wear the pants because the father ain't there to help him to wear the pants, to help put the pants on his kids and put diapers on his kids. So she got to do it by her fucking self. And that's a strong, independent, powerful woman that men hate so bad. Because they think that a man's going to sit there and change diapers and do the same thing she's going to do, knowing the man's not going to do that shit. Now, the men out there that do change diapers, there's men out there that do take care of responsibility as fathers and are single fathers, but you don't hear about them. Because they always want the woman to be the one that need help. If a woman doesn't have any help from a man, she's nothing. If she does it by herself, she's a problem. She's a problem child. Her mother wasn't there, though her father wasn't there. There's a lot of women out there that never had their father in their life and doing pretty good at taking care of their kids by themselves. Got a job, got a car, got education. I know a lot of women that didn't have their fathers. That was raised by their moms. And did a real goddamn good job. Even if I was if I would have passed away and my daughter was taken care of by her mother, she would have still been educated. She still would have got her education. She still would have went to college. Because that's what her mother would have made her do that. And nothing to do with being with a man. A man's going to love this woman the way he's going to love this woman, but he's going to mistreat this woman the way he's going to mistreat this woman. But the woman has to make sure that that doesn't happen. Like I said, a lot of women are getting into that submission mode, and they're allowing these men to take away their freedom. Like I told that woman on that post, men can take away a woman's freedom at any time, can take away their independence anytime they feel like it, because they're the ones that have written the laws. Like you see a lot of these TV shows, like it was a slave show about women being slaves one time. I forgot what they don't show. I don't know. I gotta find it, but it's a show that they wear these white caps. Women were slaves. They got their rights taken away from them. Even during slavery, when women had no rights, it's the same way as today. It's the only thing you see is modern day slavery to the woman, because now women have to sell their way of survival. And this is the opportunity for men to destroy women, because women are being the same where they were back 100 years ago, when they had to sell their bodies for survival, because men just don't want to help them anymore. And when men started helping women, men thought women was taking advantage, so men stopped. And then women were given rights. And then women said, you know what? I'm going to use these rights to my advantage, because women are using their rights to their advantage. Like the educational system. Women is using that educational system like a motherfucker. And men are mad because women are getting smarter. Women are getting more intelligent. Women are doing things that men would not do, is go back to school and be in school forever, because women love being in school. You see women hardly dropping out. You see women getting their education, trying to get that business license, trying to get that car, trying to get that house, trying to become rich. Women love money. That's why women go to school, because they want that bread. That's why they sell their bodies, because they want bread. They love money. They love to spend money. They love to be around money. That's their mindset. Get old, get money, get rich, take care of my responsibility, get married, have a white picket fence, and take care of my children. That's what women think. And if you're in their way, they're going to try to knock you out their way to get what they want, even if they got to take something from you. Even if you think, oh, he's just taking shit from me. Okay, but she's making that educational bread because she needs that money to survive. It's like we need money to survive as men. So we get the easier jobs. We get the easier money put in our pockets. Because all we need to do is go to work. Get a job, go to an interview, get a job, and we go to work. Women got to make it harder, because women probably not even get that fucking job. Because they got to work harder to get a job. They got to work harder to interview. They got to make sure that they got to wear a certain type of dress or you know, to look good at an interview, hoping that they talk right. They're not nervous, so they get the job. They can walk in there like, yeah, I did 2 jobs. You're hired. Women like, well, you know, I'm educated. I got 14 degrees. Oh, we can't hire you. You got too many degrees. Wait a minute, hold up. Well, no, we can't do that. We're gonna hire that guy over there because he did a night shift, and we're gonna hire him. You know, he did one night shift, and he has no education. We're gonna hire him. Sorry, you're too educated for us. We can't help you with that. We want a dumb bitch. We want a whore. It's just my thing. I know I got no likes, because you know what they did? You know, YouTube like doing this anyway. YouTube like to not show, when I make videos like this, YouTube hate it. They hate these videos about me making these videos about women and, you know, and shit, because they don't like that I speak on women in a different way that men speak on women. You know, they don't want me. They want to follow the trend of saying women are not educated, women are dumb, women are horrible, all this kind of. They want me to follow that same trend. Even if I get flagged, I don't care. If people write things about me to me, I don't care, because they don't know what they're talking about, because there's a lot of young people that come at me that don't know anything about my age and what I've been through, what I have seen all my life dealing with women, even though I had a mother that raised me. You know what I mean? And I watched her deal with men, and I watched my family of females deal with men, and even friends that are female deal with men. You know, and how they were mistreated, and how they were torn down and disrespected. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it 100. God bless. To all the people that don't like me, fuck you.